I don't think people should start Black Friday early. Start in November 1st, start in October. I think that's a terrible mistake.
Start in January.
Yeah.
And we are back with another episode. We've been keeping pretty consistent with this thing. I'm really happy that we're keeping consistent with this thing. It is super fun. I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of this. I hope you get enjoyment out of this one. It is all about Black Friday. It is around the corner. And boy, do we have tips for you. Every year we seem to prep for Black Friday earlier and earlier since we started the agency. I wouldn't be surprised if next year we start Black Friday like in January and start planning then, right? Like
You really should.
Yeah, totally. But I wouldn't be surprised if like that's the eight, right now it's kind of like, okay, once it starts clicking through to like mid-year, we start kind of amping it up a little bit and then getting closer just in time. But I wouldn't be surprised if it starts being like January. It's almost here, guys. It's January. What's going on? What do you have in store for us, man? It's good. Today's mainly all you.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a few secrets of Black Friday. We're going to talk about a few cautionary tales about Black Friday. And then we're going to talk about a few salty pet peeves of Ray's around Black Friday that not many people talk about, that everyone screws up every single year. Now, you mentioned around starting Black Friday in January. Yes, you should start Black Friday early. My secret wish is that every quarter could feel just like Black Friday. It's my favorite time of the year. It's when I feel like I see teams come alive. I see brands come alive. It's also can be the event that turns brands into mega brands. Like it puts brands on a new trajectory, which is why I'm so excited about it. Because one really well crafted Black Friday that if you do the prep, you do the planning, can actually completely change your business and put you on a new trajectory. And I've seen that over and over again, which is why I love it so much, because some little brands become mega brands and it puts them on that map, which is why I stress it so much, because like it can change you.
I think that gets underappreciated by possibly even by the people watching right now, right? Like what I mean by underappreciated is, yeah, okay, Black Friday, people have everyone is in shopping mode. They have their wallets open. They're keeping on top of their emails, their inboxes. They're joining into offers that are coming up pretty soon, VIP lists and all that. You and I have both seen it for ourselves, where a brand gets a game-changing Black Friday and the founders and the team build this confidence that they just never had before. Like, oh, it's doable, right? And then we've seen it go beyond just Black Friday. Like some of the brands that we work with, where they go, wait, if it's doable during Black Friday, can we try the same tactic outside of Black Friday? And we've proven that like several times. $1 million, like 1.4 million an hour, right? Mm-hmm. 2 mil something in a day outside of Black Friday. Like we've managed to capture that lightning in a bottle and put it outside of this Black Friday season. So you almost get to like double tap. And that part is the part that's really exciting and cool to me. The fact that once it clicks, it clicks.
And you're right. I think it is the mindset, because for example, a brand that does on a given month, $100,000, $200,000 in a month, when they see that with the right planning execution, they can shoot up to 500, 600,000. It's probably mindset more than anything else. When they realize, oh my gosh, when we put all the pieces together and we can do this more often, and I love to call it, it's the sickness, the Black Friday sickness. Once a brand experiences the rush, they always want to have that rush, and they're willing to work harder, plan earlier to keep that rush.
Yeah, totally. And I know this part really, I guess, is a pet peeve for you. This whole hope and pray, like just wing it thing that that a lot. I think a lot of less experienced brands go into that season with. It's kind of like, oh, well, wave is coming. Just grab a surfboard and see what happens, as opposed to like get a proper surfboard, plan things out and actually capitalize on the wave. Like maybe that's a good place to start. Like how do you see it usually play out without the planning, without the stuff that, you need to put in place?
typically around the first or second week of November, the brands that haven't put much thought into it, they start thinking, oh crap, Black Friday's coming. I need to plan something. And really the thought they go through is just, what am I going to offer? And then secondary to that is, what kind of inventory do I have? And that's really it. It's a couple weeks before, what's the offer going to be? And then how much inventory do I think I have to where maybe I sell out 20% or 30%. And I see that every year, especially we've had brands that have wanted to come on board with us late October, November, where we say, okay, what's your plan? And they have told us word for word, I haven't done it yet, but I'll probably just do like 30% off and just make sure I have enough inventory. Like that's it. That's all they do and they talk about. And there's even deeper levels you have to go through. But it just speaks to the lack of understanding that this could be a brand making event or put you on the path to keep that new level. And what people don't realize is that it takes months of prep to really do this well.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What are some of the, let's get into the stuff that people can use.
Okay, perfect. All right. So the first one is, and maybe it's a good way that we can drop what we're planning. So if anyone wants to get more of these details, we're actually doing a 4-week challenge. Prep with us all for free. We are giving away the secrets. We can't give away all the secrets in this little podcast time that we had together. However, if you come to this workshop, you can get all the secrets, the templates, everything. So, but the first thing that you do is you start with what I call the actual ground game. So that's just what I coined it. And so the first one is, what do I actually want to do? Like, what's the target? How much inventory do I have on hand or do I need to have on hand? Because, for example, if your goal is when you want to do $1 million a month, well, you got to make sure you have the inventory. So that means you have to put buys in right now. If we're in August, you have to start putting inventory buys in now. So it starts with that. Then it starts with, once I understand what the goal is and have enough inventory to potentially reach that goal, okay, then what's the trajectory I have to be on to hit that goal? So we have a forecasting calculator that we use internally where we can actually forecast using a customer cohort. What's the amount of list size you need to have, the amount of returning customers you need to have. And then the difference is what's the amount of new customers I have to be acquiring between now and November to guarantee that. So really, it seems like a lot, but it's not. Just thinking through those 3 things, and then it tells you exactly what do I need to have? And then between now and November, you have to put the things in place and the campaigns in place to acquire that many customers, have that many returning customers. And again, in the workshop, we're going to go through all this kind of stuff, but that's the first thing. Now, here's what I'm going to roll back the curtain and talk about a pet peeve. If that's okay for a second. So you guys can get a little taste of salty Ray. Okay. So what I mean by planning is you start this stuff months in advance. Okay. So we're making this podcast right now. We're starting this in September. You should be asking those 3 questions right now. You don't have to worry about the offer yet. You don't have to worry about what are my ads going to be, my emails are going to be. You just have to know those 3 questions and then put the things in place to fulfill those 3 things.
In fact, you shouldn't think about your offers, your creative, any of that until this part. I think this is the part that most people skip. They go straight to offers, like instead of thinking about this first and then reverse engineering and then putting offers, bundles, all that type of stuff in place, right?
Yeah, because you really can't, because the reverse thinking is people think, oh, I have to do the offer first to know how much inventory. No, you need to know what kind of revenue goal do I want to hit first? How much inventory do I need? And then you can actually plan the offers around that. Because a previous podcast where we actually had Bradley come on talking about offers, if you're going to do a buy one, get one free, before you even do that, you understand how much revenue do I want, if that offer is going to make sense, and then how much inventory do I need to have to make that make sense. So all things need to happen, but our personal belief after doing this for many, many years is to start with those goals first. So that's the groundwork. Do that first. It's the groundwork, the thought work. Just think through things intelligently, and then you can go on to the next step. So groundwork. Next step is actually what we call the ramp up. So this is where, for example, if I want to do $1 million in November, and I know because I'm using the forecasting tool that our team uses, which again, it's free, guys, if you guys want it in the workshop, it's free. I know I'm going to have 30% of that $1 million be returning. That's going to be $300,000. That means I need $700,000 in November to be new customers. Okay, cool. So the ramp up is where, for me to guarantee I'm going to have that amount of returning customers, typically what our team does is we will do new customer offers over the next 2 months just to buy as many customers as possible. Because we know through our cohort, again, because that's a free tool that everyone has access to, is that a certain percentage of them are guaranteed to buy again in November. And so we can count on that snowball effect, right? People who bought September, 10% are going to buy next month. Probably 20% are going to buy in, another 10% are going to buy in October, and then 20% are going to buy in November, right? So I can count on that, because out of all the data sets that you have for your brand, whether that's traffic, your email list, the purchasing patterns of new and returning customers is the least volatile data set that you have, as well as the most predictable. So that's the ramp up. I am going to be doing things to make sure I'm maintaining a certain amount of new customers to guarantee I'm going to have the returning customers in November, because in November, how I acquire is all going to be around the offer anyways. So that's the ramp up. But in the ramp up, this is the time where you can come up with your offer, because once you know your revenue goal, once you know your inventory that you need, then you can make your offer. Now, I want to park here on the offers, D, because I have a question for you. What do you think is a really great Black Friday offer?
Oh my God, there are so many. Okay. Mystery gift.
What are the ones have gotten you before?
Okay. I'm a sucker for Black Friday, so I don't. For everyone who's okay, get to know D moment. I do not, for most of the year, buy anything for myself, hardly, besides like maybe tech, right? Clothes, jewelry, furniture, like I don't buy any of it. Mainly because I'm just too busy and it's work and all that other stuff. I'm like, Nat, you do the buying. Come Black Friday, I am a sucker for a good deal. So if it's buy one, get mystery gift, I'm down. If it's usually like $90 and now it's, I don't know, 3 for $99, I'm down. Right? That type of bundling, super awesome. If it's a mystery bundle from a brand that is like, hey, I want to buy a few things from them, and there's this mystery bundle that's like, you don't know what's in the bundle, but it's at this great price, you might have gotten me too. So
really? I hate mystery bundles because I don't know what's in it. That's really fascinating that gets you.
That time of year, I'm okay with that, because I might buy stuff and like Christmas is around the corner. I'm like, I might buy some of those things, and if it's stuff that I'm not going to use, can I like gift it to people who like it's meaningful for them because they brought it up in conversation? Yeah, man.
Okay, so great. That's your example of a good offer. Great. Okay, so over the many years you've had a chance of seeing this, there's examples of great offers and bad offers. In my opinion, the definition of a great offer is this: it's simple, it's compelling, meaning that's probably a better offer incentivization than you would have the rest of the year. Okay. No discount code is needed. And then in addition to that is it's typically circled around your best selling products or product line. That's a really great offer. Now, let me give you examples of that. That is buy one, get one free on your best product if you can have the margins, or buy two, get one free if it's, a product that has many different variants, like different colors and sizes and patterns. That also means no discount code. And this is the one that really pisses me off every single year, is the reason why you shouldn't have a discount code is because humans are forgetful people. Like, we are freaking dumb at remembering what a code is, especially if that code you just saw in an email or an ad. Don't use a discount code. And also because every year we see the customer service support chats of our brand skyrocket with, what's the code again? Is it, I tried 100 off, but it's not working. Oh, it's 100 offs with an S. Oh, okay. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, or it's BFCM 20. I tried BFMC 20.
BCFM. Yeah, for sure.
And it's stupid. Just automatically discount it.
Right. What about automatically discount code automatically applied? Does that help
this is
too?
my personal opinion is no. Is I believe through our tests that the conversion rate is higher if people go to your site.
Oh, 100%.
They see they see banners, they see all the BFCM promotion, but then they see the original price slashed through on the product page. Because the problem with automatically applied is you go to the product page, you're not going to actually see the money off I'm getting until I go to checkout, right? That's 2 more clicks away. And I want them to feel the good feelings right away that, oh, $15 off, $50 off. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm getting it right now.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And the clear offer part, I cannot understate enough. I have seen enough of our brands go through, send back from, whether it's their team or whatever, send back some kind of like really complicated offer. It makes sense to them until you read it from a consumer's perspective. Like, buy 2, get 20% off, buy 3, get 35% off, buy 4, get 1 free. And you're like, I have to do math now. Like it's so convoluted that it just ends up, people end up opting out. I've seen so many permutations of that. It's so hard to help someone clear their mind somehow and just be like, just make it clear, guys. Try to explain it to your grandma. Maybe that's the best way to do it.
That's actually a really great litmus test, D. If you can't explain it to your grandma and she doesn't understand what it is, it's a good indication that it's not a good offer. So for example, totally. I want to give examples of bad offers. So one is it complicated, requiring people to have discount codes? If it's only one offer only available on Black Friday, so that's a personal opinion. I believe the offer should be throughout the entire weekend than just having one day, because you'll actually get more net gross profit by having it over the entire weekend, because on that Friday, you still have people that have to work. There's still the hustle and bustle throughout the day. Maybe there's kids screaming, but over the weekend, you give them a chance to actually buy more. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with the next one. I don't think having tiered discounts is a good idea. I think it's a terrible idea because it's complicated. You're requiring someone to think too much of, okay, if I spend this much, I get this. But if I spend this much, I now get this. I think it's too complicated. Now, there's other outliers or brands that can maybe do that well. Yes. But the big problem is getting tech to automatically work with those discounts. That's the big problem. Yeah. So you have to get some kind of app on Shopify to automatically make sure if they spend this much, it automatically applies this much off, and make sure, are you include all the products, only certain products in Shopify, and it gets really complicated and messy. And that's another reason why I don't recommend it. Yeah, for sure. And I think that the thing that we have to remember that Black Friday, we are competing for attention on steroids. So people's phones are, getting blasted up with SMSs. Their inboxes are getting blasted with messaging around from various different brands. So they're getting reminded everywhere. If yours is complicated, they're going to go, well, I'll just check the next email. That's the reality of it. Right. There's a brand years ago that we worked with. I'm not sure if you remember. I want to give you an example that it's an extreme of why you shouldn't have tiered discounts, but I still see brands every year make this one. So we had a brand run time. They sold these baby bags, but there was sets of 4. You could buy a set of 8 or a set of 12. And this is their offer. And I tell this cautionary tale to our team, where their offer one year was buy 1 set of 4, get 40% off with this code. But if you buy 1 set of 8, you get 50% off with this code. But if you buy a set of 4 or 8, you get this much off with this code. I'll never forget. It was the worst launch I've ever seen in my entire life, because people were messaging saying, I do not understand what you're saying. We're even lucky that they messaged back to let us know they didn't understand. They could have easily just been like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm not even going to bother. Right? This thing is just way too hard. There's another brand I saw. They also did buy 1, get 1 50% off on select items when you spend $100 between 4 and 8 p.m. with code this. Can you believe it? It shows you that it was made by someone who was thinking through all of the logistics on the back end, but completely ignored the actual human experience and the ease of use.
100%. 100%. That you want to make it as, and I think that's really, we can wrap up, we can put a wrapper around this entire Black Friday messaging and offer part, really, with just make it as simple as possible, right? Think through it to go as simple as possible. Your job on your back end is to figure out your margins, your how it boosts your AOV, how many new customers you need to acquire versus how many repeat customers you can tap on the shoulder, all that. That's your job. Once you inflict that on your customers, I think that's when you get a sense that you're starting to do that, and you're in the way that you're planning this thing out. That's when you're getting into danger territory. Look at it again. Get a objective third party to go, do you understand? Let me put this in front of you. Do you understand? Show it to a 9-year-old. Show it to your grandma. Show it to someone who's outside of this game, and see whether they get it or not. Because if they don't get it, that's a good signal, right? And get someone who will be honest with you to look at your stuff and go, do you even understand what I'm trying to say here? Or even better, just put it in front of them and go, what does this mean? And just listen, right?
So as a safe bet, here are the types of offers I typically like. Now, it's a percentage off, a fixed dollar amount off, a BOGO, or if you can't do it through margins, a buy one, get one, 50% off. I think that's probably safe as well. Also, buy this with a free gift. I think that's also really great. So go with things that are the most simply understood as possible. And then how can I incentivize them more? So we have a brand where, for whatever reason, for their margins or for their brand perception, they weren't willing to go beyond 20%. Hey, that's okay. So we said instead, how can we add extra value? So for them, it was they threw in an additional product. To them, it felt like it was okay for their brand perception. And that's another great example of an offer where it's very easy to understand, plus someone's getting a free gift.
Yeah, for sure. And those types of offers where it's buy one and get a mystery gift or mystery bundles on the back end. I get why brands are doing that too. If to be able to then move some of the stock that might have been harder to move, perfect for that. Right? So that then you have your hero ones where it is based off of your most popular selling products. And then you've got these mystery bundles to supplement for the ones that you just got to move inventory for.
Cool. Now I want to move on to probably the most heavily contested belief. And this is a hill I will freaking die on. I don't think people should start Black Friday early.
Wow. That is a spicy take.
Everyone's like, start earlier because everyone else is doing it, or start in November 1st, start in October. I think that's a terrible mistake.
Start in January.
Yeah. Dude, there's actually brands. I could pull up ads libraries of brands right now where they are still running their Black Friday ad because it converts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like people, it's like visiting people. It's like visiting people that have Christmas trees up all year. And you're like, I don't know if I'm almost one of those people. We keep our tree up. The moment Halloween's over, we decorate for Christmas and we keep it up probably through January. Last year we actually kept it up through February because my wife was pregnant. Yeah, but it's not on during summer though.
Yeah, not.
Yeah, that's. I'm talking about those type of people, all year round. Yeah, for
one
sure.
of those people.
So why not? Why not start early?
Okay. I'll give you the Ray's opinion, then I'll give you some facts that I've observed through our experience. So Ray's opinion is number one. It's every time you do a big event like this, what happens? You have a really great spike the first day, and typically you have a really great spike the day it ends because you're counting down. All that time in the middle is you're striving just to maintain and for it to still be worth the effort. So the longer you do it, here's what happens. Number one is you're fighting really, really hard to maintain it. Two, it becomes noise. Now, maybe not noise for top of funnel acquisition for new customers because they see a really great offer. But the reason why is you may be driving new customers, but you're just going to create noise for your returning customers. And so the Ray's opinion is it's longer to maintain that momentum. It's much harder. The longer you have a sale going, it's going to eventually die off. That's number one. Number two is it actually contradicts, in my opinion, our product launch formula that people are going to learn in the workshop, where yes, everyone does a teasing phase now before a sale or a drop. We do it very differently. But the reason why is because for you to maintain a certain amount of sales volume, for it to be an extremely profitable brand making event, it's very hard to do that over a long period of time. I'm of the opinion it's much better to make it shorter, make a massive impact, and then move on to other strategies, which I'm going to keep secret that we'll release in our workshop, which is another reason why it contradicts keeping a long time.
Oh, it's so hard not to tell them right now, though.
I know. I want to tell them so bad, but I can't. Come to the workshop. It's free anyways.
That's fair. And also, I'm going to make sure that the link to the info for the workshop is in the description as well. And for those of you that are watching this maybe after we launch the workshop, that you might be questioning that, click the link anyway, and I'll make sure that you're sorted. Don't worry about it. Even though you can't attend live, don't worry about it. I got you.
Some of the reasons why people like to launch early that I don't agree with is they think it's a competitive advantage. It's not a competitive advantage. A few reasons why is what you're doing is the people that launch early is I think it just kind of annoys and pisses everyone else off because they see other brands starting early. When people, they're not really, also the other reason is because they're waiting for Black Friday. Everyone who sees a Black Friday ad early, they think, oh, I'm going to wait until Black Friday because I think there's going to be something better. And so by starting early, if that is like your one offer that you're running for the entire month of November, is people are going to wait until Black Friday to buy for the majority anyways, because they think you're holding something back. Whereas if you launch on Black Friday, they know this is the best they're going to get for the entire year. So that's another reason. And then the last reason is this is where every year we have brands where we show them, here's the plan, here's the strategy. It works every single year. The moment they start seeing their competitors launch early, what do?
Exactly.
We got to do something now.
Exactly.
The moment you're following your competition like that, you've already lost. Like, no, stick to your guns. 9 times out of 10, if you work with us, our strategy is better than theirs and it goes better than theirs. Just stick to your guns. And that's the hard part. It's like just being patient and sticking to the plan.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that point number 3 is the primary motivator for why most brands fall into the start early category. Right. Because straight up FOMO, if other brands are doing it, they're stealing the attention. I better have share of attention there as well. And so let's start early, right? And it becomes this race to who can start earliest. And I'm kind of with you on that. It dilutes the potency of that one drop, because then you're kind of doing a pre-drop or it's just so noisy.
Not only that, but how long do you have to count down? If I start 3 weeks early, 2 weeks left, guys. 1 week left. Yeah, 1 week left. 5 days left. Like it becomes nonsense at that point.
Got you. Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure.
Okay, so I feel like we pretty much killed that dead horse. That's a big pet peeve of mine that I hope you guys consider as well. So the next one is actually going to be around the actual tease. Now, most people tease. Most brands tease. You should tease. I'm a huge believer in teasing. Where I think a lot of people go wrong in the teasing is they just do countdowns. So I'm going to give you guys a few gold nuggets and a few real examples of our brands. And I think it's going to become painfully clear how to do it better. So the whole point of a teasing phase is before you do a product launch or Black Friday is you want to tell people, hey, we're doing this thing, enter into a VIP list. Number one, the principles of marketing is how can I stand out and be different so that people will see me as different so I can get more attention, right? So if everyone and all your competitors are calling it a VIP list, what is it? It's just noise at that point. So number one, call it something else, something different than VIP list. right? So that's up to you. We had a brand one time, instead of calling it a VIP list, they call it the side chick list. I think you remember that, D.
Yeah. Nice.
Very particular niche and market. They knew their customers, but they called it the side chick, right? Like speaking to their customer. Okay. So call something different. But then when people opt into it, and this is where most brands fail. If you start 7 days early, 10 days early, whatever that time scale is they don't keep them engaged. I look at their VIP list is like prepping for a party. So imagine this, if you will. You're going to, it's Christmas time. You have a bunch of family members and friends. They're all inviting you to different Christmas parties, right? But what happens, it's all over like the same weekend. You can only go to one party. Which one are you going to choose, D? Out of curiosity, which party are you going to choose to go to?
The one that I remember to go to. Okay. Well, but that one, and also
that's
too,
true.
I
the
think
one you remember, that's real.
The one, right? Like the one that I actually like kind of go, oh shit, I got to get dressed and get ready for that one. But then also too, the most banging party.
Right? One that looks the most fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Exactly.
Most comfortable. Sure. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so just like that, we think you should think of your VIP list like that. So we tell the story internally is for your party to be the party that your customers go to over all the other parties, how are you going to treat it differently? And so what we call it is we say in the VIP phase, you have to, one, keep them engaged. So how's that work? Keeping it front of mind. That's easy to do. We have tactics for that. But the other one is, how can you build hype? Now, most people build hype with just like 10 days left, 8 days left. That's not building hype. Building hype is adding on to what they already knew before. So we call it surprise and delight. So for example, we had a brand where they hand make products like leather bags, things like that. Part of the strategy was we didn't tell people until they got into the VIP list. Oh, by the way, the first 200 people that order are also going to be given a clutch for free, right? Then as it gets closer, what do they do next? Oh, and by the way, anyone who orders throughout this weekend is also being entered into a $200 giveaway. And as it gets closer, oh, and by the way, we didn't tell you guys this before, but we want to show you this new type of leather that we're going to also be releasing. So as you can imagine, we're building anticipation towards this sale. We're not telling them until they come in, and then we're releasing extra goodies, extra value, extra surprise and delight to make it so that all they can think about is, I need to freaking wait by my phone when this party launches, because there's so many extra things at this party that I didn't think about, just like agency life. How can I over deliver and surprise them and give value to them? Same thing.
Yeah, 100%. The way that I visualize it always is when music festivals announce that they're going to have right, that they're going to that tickets are available, and then in the lead up to it, they're like, and we just secured this act, and then leading up to it,
so well,
right, and then a sideshow is going to be for this act, and by the way, and then you have, because it's a music festival and sometimes they have the sideshows, they start promoting the sideshows and being like, besides being on stage for the festival, they're also going to do an after festival sideshow here. And then you lead up and you're just going, how can I miss out on this festival? Why is it such a helpful visualization for me? Because festival time is all, like, you're competing against several other festivals during like summer, for example. So it's not only about, and by the way, they all have big acts. Right? So how do you then build up towards that so that, one, people buy the tickets, and then two, they get excited to show up as well?
Dude, the moment you mentioned festivals and bands playing, I had a blast from the past. When I was a teenager, my thing and my dad's thing was we would go to concerts. But my dad ran a grocery store and a gas station. But when the Warped Tour would roll into town, you know, it was during the day. My dad had to work. So I would like beg my dad, come on, Dad, let me just take the day off. He'd let me off. And then as I got closer, they're like, oh, and by the way, yellow card's going to be there now. I'm like, Dad, yellow card's going to be there. And then as I got closer, like, oh, then we just secured Angels and Airways. And I'm like, Dad, I can't miss this. So I got to the point to where like, he was like, dude, I don't want to hear about this anymore. Just take the freaking day off, take the truck and go.
Get out of my face. Just get out of my face. Just go. Just get out of my face. I don't even know what these things are. Yellow cards and Angels. What is
like,
going?
The yellow card is that a soccer match or something? It's like, no, exactly. Dad, are you kidding me?
Totally. It's the best band ever. You don't understand.
Dad, Ocean Avenue? Come on.
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh man. But yeah, I'm totally with you. Like lead them up. Don't be a nag. 10 days left, 8 days left. It just falls into like, I don't care anymore. I know what, and this is like a psychological principle, right? Once the messaging falls into a pattern, your customers and your audiences, the people that you have worked so hard and paid for to add into your VIP list or your mailing list, once it's 10 days left, 9 days left, 8 days left, or that type of pattern, your next email, they're just going to tell me that it's 5 days left.
Yeah.
There's no surprise anymore. I'm not even going to open it. I know exactly what they're going to say. Whereas if you build the other pattern where it's, hey, this, by the way, this thing we didn't tell you before, you're going to get now. The next one, now you're building that pattern. So now it's more of a virtuous cycle moving into the season or into the day itself.
You know what's crazy, D, is when the brands that follow that strategy, and I know it takes thought work. That's why we say plan early.
Oh God, how horrible. You got to use your brain.
I know, right? But what's crazy is that if you watch their emails, because one, it builds hype. Two, you can see it working because your open rates on your emails start increasing. Because that's when you tell you that your list is so freaking bought in, like, oh my gosh, I have to open the next email because I have no idea what they're going to release next. And we just watch every day as we do that teasing phase, the open rates increasing. And that's when you know that's working.
Yeah, for sure. Should people watching, should they pair that with SMS as well? Same messaging, different messaging, or should they keep it email only up until when it's closer to?
Great question. We still use SMS. We do use it sparingly, but a good rule of thumb that we like to do is we'll use it as, hey, we just sent you an email for a new release, or we just sent you an email for something that we were holding back just for you VIPers. And so we will use it sparingly as we lead up. But then once the launch happens, which we can get into that, we use SMS a lot more. But typically throughout the VIP phase, we'll probably send 3 or 4 SMSs just to the VIP list because we want to make sure that they see it. But one thing I did want to say is all the examples I gave, it seemed like, oh man, I have to give away more margin, more product. You don't have to do that. I want to give you a few real examples of other brands who couldn't give away products that very little effort, but it actually did the same thing. So one is, can you enter anyone who buys into a giveaway? It can be a shopping spree with your store. It can be like $200 in store credit. Like that is very little margin for you, especially store credit. But what it adds to the consumer is a lot of value. Another thing is, can you, especially if you're going to do like a new product release during Black Friday, can you talk about the R&D that went into it? Can you talk about the design process you went through to design this collection for them? Like all those little different things still add value, but the whole point of it is you wait until people opt into the VIP list because we're adding value to the event so that they actually want to be a part of it. And then the last one is we're going to go through all of the 8 psychological triggers, but I want to tell you about my favorite one. Is as it gets closer, this is my favorite one, is as it gets closer, tell people how much inventory you have and how many people have signed up. So for example, it's, oh my gosh, 5,000 of you have signed up. We only have 4,000 in stock. Like that's just a great way too to add value and add hype to where they feel like it's exclusive, but also like I better be ready to click add to cart and check out. Otherwise I won't get it.
Just like them concert tickets, man. You know when you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, we can buy the tickets now. Yeah. Refresh. Yeah. All right. What's next?
Okay. All right. So I know we're kind of rounding out right here. And again, if you guys want all the details, we're just giving a 30,000 foot view. We have templates, we have structure, scaling structures, creative templates, the exact stuff our team uses that we broke 60 records last year is going to be in the workshop. But what I want to do next is I want to talk about the actual launch. So typically what happens over Black Friday, as you're leading up to it, what happens? If you start teasing too early and you tell too many people, your cash flow is going to really dry up, right? Because you've told everyone in your customer list, and you've told anyone who visited your store, don't buy from me right now, wait until Black Friday. So like your cash is going to dry up for 2 weeks. So in the workshop, we actually have a scheduled release of how you start teasing out to different segments so to reserve cash flow, but it leads into the launch. So in the launch, this is where I'm going to get into a lot of tactics for you guys, because as a partner to brands, we are responsible for aggressively scaling. So what that means is we're spending a crap ton of money on ads, full transparency. So a few things that that's just how we do it, right? We spend a lot of money on ads. And
it's just
I just want to make sure it's really clear for people.
I love how you added the full transparency. Like, that's what we do. We run ads.
Guys, all you have to do to scale is just increase budget. Like I remember we had a strategist internally, Matt. He was one of the best scalers that we had at the time. And our team was asking him, dude, how are you scaling so much? He's like, guys, I'm just increasing budget.
Just increasing budget. I remember that. I remember that group call. It's hilarious.
But okay, so this is again in the tactics. So here's what we do. For example, to hit our revenue target, again, that was step number 1 in this whole call. What we do is we purposefully, whatever we plan on spending for that day, is we will double the planned budget. So if your plan is to spend $50,000 that day on advertising, we actually start the day off with the pacing to spend $100,000. Now, I want to tell you why. Because during the event that week and that weekend, because so many people are trying to spend so much money, it's much harder to scale up budget intraday. It's much easier to pull back budget than it is to scale up.
We've seen that happen so many times.
It's burned us a lot. And that was a hard lesson learned, because for that reason is if things are going really good and you're pacing for 20K, but you're like, okay, let's try to get to 50K or 80K. There's nothing you can do. You're at Facebook's whim on if it's going to feed out or not.
Yeah, exactly. You start low and try to go high. It's hard. You're just kind of sitting on your hands by that point.
Yeah, and then you're upset because Facebook's not spending it, and you're refreshing 30 times an hour to see if it's actually spending, and it's just
call your rep, guys. Right hook, you guys should call your reps. What is going on? It's like, what do you think the reps are gonna do? Like, what do you think the reps have some kind of dial? They just sit there and have a dial, and they're just like, yeah, man, no problem. Thanks, Right Hook, for the call. Boop.
If I was Zuck and I just want to make a crap ton of money, I would purposely put some kind of dial in there that, okay, I'll spend your money, but I'm going to charge you more on the CPM.
Yeah, no, totally. Probably get sued by the SEC.
If they catch it, right? It took them years to catch the video views problem that they had.
No, totally.
Okay, so the launch, that's how we start on the ad set side. Again, in our workshop, we actually go over structures. But in the email, so that day on the first day, we're sending out 3 emails, morning, afternoon, and night. If your spams and your bounces are healthy, again, in a previous podcast episode, we talked about list detox. You can go back and listen to that one. But if that's healthy, we'll actually do more, and we'll just do resends. So a resend is where you take the same email, change the subject line, and you just resend it to the same list, essentially, right? So we'll do that more frequently, and we'll keep doing the resend as long as those rates are healthy. Because again, put yourself in the customer's shoes. The moment you wake up for Black Friday, your inbox never stops with new things coming into your inbox. So the reality is you almost have to do many sends to keep front of mind, because it's going to be buried very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the reality is, for those of you watching that are hoping for tell us an actual number. doesn't work that way, unfortunately. The answer is it depends. You got to really have to look at your deliverability, what those metrics are. Go back and watch that List Detox one, that episode. And I'll do you guys a favor. I'll add it to the description as well. But there's no, to win, send 8. Like no more, no less. Exactly 8. There's no magic number.
So that's like then the first launch day. So typically as a baseline benchmark, the first day we're looking to send 3 emails, 2 SMS. Again, deliverability is the North Star. And if you increase or decrease that, okay. Then over the weekend, we follow that same path. We go 2 emails a day, 2 SMSs. But again, we look at deliverability. And the last day, just as a generality, we'll go back to 3 and then 2 again. 3 email, 2 SMSs. Again, deliverability is the North Star. And if we increase that frequency or if we pull back. So that's like, from a retention standpoint, that's what we do. Now, here's where I'm going to get into a couple more salty opinions that I think a lot of brands screw up every year. Number one is they think it's the weekend. And so brands and their founders and their teams check out. It's your Super Bowl. No one in the entire company should be checking out. You should be working extra long hours. Like for example, our team, it's understood with us and our families that this is our Super Bowl. You don't, if you're a football player, you don't not show up to your Super Bowl. That's a great way to get cut.
That's a great way to lose a Super Bowl.
Yes, exactly. So, and what I mean by this is customer service support tickets is one of the best ways to recoup a lot of money. Because if you think about it, if someone wants your product, they have a question, no one's there to answer it quickly, you lost that sale.
Yeah, 100%.
So be available and get extra staff up if you have to, just so that you can answer questions and queries on social, over email, over live chat within 10 minutes or less. That's kind of the goal to shoot for. Now, to kind of round this off real quick is, if you're spending a lot of money, you need to do these 3 things. Number 1, go check your ad account spend limits. Make sure you're not going to get capped out. Send in a support request to Meta, because there's actually 2 triggers. You have an ad account spend limit. Then Meta, behind the scenes, which no one knows, has a limit that even if your ad account doesn't show, they'll stop you from spending. So you have to make sure they raise it. So that's number 2. And then number 3, that most brands that this is like the first Black Friday, they really want to make a big deal and spend a lot of money to make a lot of money. Go talk to your whoever you get your finance from, credit card, PayPal, bank, and check their spend limits and make sure you flag that we're going to spend a lot of money. It's on purpose, because all 3 of those, we've seen brands get burned and then they couldn't spend any more money that day, which, I mean, yeah, the moment you said that, I was like, we know that pain, don't we?
Grinding halt. And I think go do that. Just go do that. And if you're working with an agency, tell your agency to go talk to their reps ahead of time. They should be talking to their reps all the time anyway. But that's the benefit of having an agency, because they have then an agency rep, and that agency rep can kind of just like bundle up all the brands that you're working with, and then just do that for you, brand by brand, depending on the limit. Julia, we love you. Thank you so much. You are godsend. But make sure you do that, because when things are going well and you hit a wall, that wall does not go away easy.
No. And then all this effort and all that inventory you want to sell, you're standing still.
Yeah.
Until the next day, until it starts again. Okay. So the last couple of things I think that's important for everyone to know is, if you're using any kind of tech, like for bundling software, upsells, downsells, discount code software, whatever that is, do not wait until that day to test it. Test it days in advance. Actually, in a development store, whatever you have to do, test it to verify that it's actually going to work, because we've have horror stories of brands. They had this perfect post-purchase upsell they're going to do and a bundling they were going to do, and they launch and it wasn't tested ahead of time. And then they're scrambling for all day to make something up and send emails apologizing. It's just a big mess. So make sure you test ahead of time.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing about testing too, don't just test inside of the builder, right? Actually have it on a staging live website, test it on your mobile, test it, like get your neighbor to test it, get other people to test it too, not just within that, right? Because if you're in there, as an example, for this Black Friday thing, as I was setting this up, Ray, we had this one little scrolling GIF thing, the same, webinar or prep with us thing, inside of the landing page builder, looked completely great. Mobile, great. Desktop, great. Right? Everything was loading completely fine. Even when I hit refresh, even when I went on my tried incognito mode on my desktop, completely okay. Went on my phone, images were missing, stuff wasn't loading, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? But if I didn't think to do that, I would have thought everything was okay. We would have launched, and then people would have been pissed off. And then I have to do the whole like, oh, sorry guys, you couldn't see what was happening. And yeah, anyway.
You know what? You should remind me of something on our checklist. So by the way, in the workshop that we're doing, the prep with us, if you guys want to join, we actually give away our checklist of all these things to watch out for, the uh-ohs and gotchas. There's actually one in there. So Black Friday, everyone themes in black. The problem with that is there's a large percentage of people using dark mode on their devices. And so you may have black text on a black background and you can't see nothing.
Not fun, guys. Not fun. Yeah, 100%. Anything else you got for us? That was a lot.
It was a lot. So there's a lot of other strategies that we'll be going through in the actual workshop, the Prep With Us workshop. So the last thing is going to be, don't forget about everything after Cyber Monday. We have a lot of strategies that we go through in the workshop. But I just want to say, as a parting words, there's a lot more of upside that you have with your brand once Cyber Monday ends. So make sure you think about that rest of the year. We call it Q5 planning. So we have a whole Q5 planning playbook that we're going to give away in the workshop. Make sure you think through that. Otherwise, it's going to come back to bite you.
Yep. That sales slump is real. And you can either plan for what to do around that time or kind of just let it happen to you. We kind of hate letting things happen to us or our brands, because there are very real tactics that you can apply and strategies to think through for that time period too. Dude, yeah, that was a lot. If you want to go deeper with us and see our calendar, like, dude, you're giving away like it's 91 slides.
Yeah, and that's not even counting all the templates that we're going to give. So it's like, it's whatever our team uses to prep these strategies and tactics, we're giving it all. The forecasting calculators, the calendars, the ad templates, email templates, the strategies, like, and the big secret of how we make your Black Friday mind-boggling good, which we're not going to release for the first time. We'll release it in the workshop. All that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to take part in that, again, link in the description. I really want to see you there. We really want to see you win. Just because you're not a client doesn't mean that we don't want you to win. There's enough for everyone to eat and win. That's why we're doing this. And I want to make sure that you guys really get it. And again, I need to reemphasize, if you've made it this long of the video, one, thank you. Good for you. Number two, like, you're a real one. Number two, if you made it this far in the video, like, don't miss out on getting into that. If you're watching this way later than when we've run the workshops live, just go in there and fill in your stuff anyway, or just drop me an email, d@righthookdigital.com. Let me know that you want access. I got you. Don't worry about that. Right. Sweet, man. Good episode. I think we're good.
Thanks, man. That was fun.
That was super fun. I will see you guys next time. Enjoy Black Friday planning in the meantime, and hopefully we'll see you inside the live workshops. Till next time, guys.